To add a provider, click on the text box just below the provider ID heading, then type in the provider ID. Press the Tab key and type in the first name of the provider, then press the Tab key and type in the last name of the provider. Choose the specialty, subspecialty of this provider by clicking on the box just below the specialty, subspecialty heading and clicking on the appropriate icon. Choose the default exam type for this provider by clicking on the box just below the default exam type heading and clicking on the appropriate option. Choose the default fee schedule for this provider by clicking on the box just below the default fee schedule heading and clicking on the appropriate option. If this provider is a physician assistant, check the box next to the physician assistant heading or click on the heading itself. If you would like to archive this provider, check the box next to the archive provider heading or click on the heading itself. Save the new provider by clicking on the Save button. To select one record, click anywhere on the provider's row in the table. To select multiple records that are continuous within the current table display, click on the first record, then hold down the Shift key and select the last record in the range. To select multiple records that are not contiguous within the current table display, click on the first record, then hold down the Control key while selecting the other records that you want selected. To delete a provider record or records, select the provider record or records you wish to delete and click the Delete button. To edit a provider, select the provider record you wish to edit by clicking anywhere on the provider's row in the table. To change the data, click on the text box corresponding to the field that needs to be changed. Then change the text as appropriate. To change the specialty, subspecialty, default exam type, or default fee schedule, click on the corresponding drop-down box and click on the appropriate option. If this provider is a physician assistant, check the box next to the physician assistant heading or click on the heading itself. If you would like to archive this provider, check the box next to the archive provider heading or click on the heading itself. Save your changes by clicking on the Save button. To conduct a search, choose the field that you would like to search on by clicking on the preferred field name, just above the long text box next to the search heading. Next, click on that long box and begin typing your search. Intelicode begins selecting records as you type. To send to another office, select the provider record or records that you want to be sent or copied to the provider table in another office. Click the Send to Another Office button. The Pick Office pop-up window will appear. Select the office that you would like to send this record or records to. Click OK to send them. The providers remain in this office and are now copied to the provider table in the other office selected. If there's a provider ID from the selected office that is the same as a provider ID in the data that you are sending, you'll be asked if you want to overwrite. The All option will tell Intelicode to overwrite any and all provider records from this point forward in the process in the selected office or offices that have a provider ID that matches a provider ID in the provider data that you're sending. The None option will tell Intelicode to not overwrite any provider records for this particular copy from this point forward in the process. The Yes option will tell Intelicode to overwrite this one particular provider record and only this record. The No option will tell Intelicode to not overwrite this one particular provider record and only this record. The Cancel option will stop the entire send process. To copy from another office, click the Copy from Another Office button. Select the office or offices from which you wish to copy all of its provider records. Click OK. The provider record from the office or offices you selected are now a part of your current office's provider table. If there's a provider ID from the selected office or offices that is the same as a provider ID from your current provider table, you'll be asked if you want to overwrite. The All option will tell Intelicode to overwrite any and all provider records from this point forward in the process that have a provider ID that matches a provider ID in the data that you're copying. The None option will tell Intelicode to not overwrite any provider records for this particular copy. The Yes option will tell Intelicode to overwrite this one particular provider record and only this one. The No option will tell Intelicode to not overwrite this one particular provider record. If there are any more duplicate records, you'll be asked the question again pertaining to each of the other records, so long as you click Yes or No. The Cancel option will stop the entire copy process. You can import providers from a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet or from a comma-separated file. Click on the Import from File button. The open window will pop up. Browse to the location of the file you wish to import. Using the drop-down box in the lower right portion of the open window, choose the file type of the file you wish to import. Next, select the file by clicking on it. Click the Open button to import the file. You'll be asked the question, does this file have headers? If the top row in your spreadsheet or CSV file is made up of column headings, click Yes. Otherwise, click No. If you clicked Yes, you'll have the opportunity to match up the fields in your file to the static patient table fields. Read the text in the light blue box at the bottom of the Import Fields window for further instructions. Click OK when you're confident that the fields are properly matched up. If you clicked No, you'll need to match the column name to the column in your data. You can do this by right-clicking on a field and matching it up to the number of the order in which it appears in your data. The order begins with 0. Your imported data will appear in the table. If you'd like to export your provider table to a comma-separated values file, click the Export to File button. Browse the location in which you would like to save your exported CSV file. Type in a file name for this file in the text box to the right of the file name heading toward the bottom of the window. Click Save to save the CSV file. When you are finished with the provider screen, click on a different maintenance table from the menu on the left side of the screen, or click Close to close the management screen.